and the person I had become trying to please a woman who only loved me conditionally. I thought about what I actually wanted from life versus what my mother had decided I should want. At the end of 2 weeks, I called my mother. I told her I chose Franklin. She said she was disappointed, but not surprised. She said I was making the biggest mistake of my life. She said she would have her lawyer change the will by the end of the week. She said I should remember this moment when I was struggling in a few years while Lawson's wife lived comfortably. Then she hung up. I expected to feel devastated. Instead, I felt free. The threat she had held over me my entire life finally landed, and I was still standing. She had no more power over me because she had used her only weapon. I couldn't be threatened with something that had already happened. I threw myself into building a life that didn't depend on her money. I worked harder at my law firm and got promoted twice in 3 years. And I moved in with Franklin, and we bought a small house together. I reconnected with my brother, who had built a successful life without any family support. I learned that money from my mother would have come with strings attached forever, and I was better off earning my own. My mother didn't speak to me for 2 years. She told relatives I had chosen a construction worker over my own family. She told her friends I had thrown away my future for someone beneath me. She painted herself as the victim of an ungrateful daughter who didn't appreciate sacrifice. Then her health started declining. The phone rang at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was already in bed reading while Franklin worked on furniture designs at his desk in the corner. I almost didn't answer because unknown numbers that late usually meant spam, but something made me pick up. My Aunt Macy's voice came through shaky and rushed. She said my mother collapsed in her bathroom that evening. She said the paramedics took her to Memorial Hospital. She said it was her heart, and it looked bad. I grabbed a pen from the nightstand with hands that wouldn't stay steady. I wrote the room number on the back of an envelope, while Macy kept talking about cardiac failure and emergency treatment. Franklin looked up from his sketches when he heard my voice change. He stood and came over before I even finished the call. He said he would drive me there right now if I wanted to go. I nodded because I couldn't make words come out properly. We got dressed in silence. Franklin found my shoes while I stared at the room number I'd written. The drive took 20 minutes through empty streets. Franklin didn't ask if I was okay because he knew I wasn't. He just drove and kept one hand on my knee whenever he wasn't shifting gears. The hospital parking garage smelled like oil and antiseptic. We took the elevator to the 4th floor. The fluorescent lights in the cardiac unit made everything look too bright and too cold at the same time. A nurse at the desk pointed down the hall when I gave my mother's name. Room 4C was the 3rd door on the left. I stopped walking about 15 feet away from it. Franklin stopped with me. I could see through the small window in the door. My mother lay in the bed hooked up to machines that beeped and hummed. She looked smaller than I remembered. Her hair was loose instead of perfectly styled. Her face had no makeup. She wore a hospital gown instead of the designer clothes she always insisted on. I stood there counting the machines around her bed. Franklin touched my shoulder gently. He asked if I needed more time. I shook my head and made myself walk forward.